What's going on, you little leng tings? I cannot figure out my football club.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm
Little
living. I'ma walk the
leng-ting.
walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
What's poppin', friends? Welcome back to Football Therapy, into your complete breakdown of Crystal Palace 1, Chelsea 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 whopping goals. A comeback inspired by Conor Gallagher, who of course was on loan at Crystal Palace. And Chelsea, wait for it, make it 13 wins in a row in the Prem against Crystal Palace, a London rival. Look, let's be real, let's get it in early doors. They've not been in form, though this was an opportunity for them to go 3 games, winning 3 games in a row in the Prem. And they did score first. Potential banana skin. And Chelsea, though, were absolutely god-awful in the first half, and we are going to talk about that. This is a kind of like a test in itself that they passed. You know, granted, not a test that you want to have all the time, and so put yourself in this really turgid position where you're playing what was the worst part of 2018, 17, 18 Sardi ball. I remember watching some really ponderous football in that season and at Stamford Bridge, and that first half was hella ponderous. I'm going to use I'll just quickly tell you this thing from George Benson that I screenshotted from his Instagram. He put on this story in the 36th minute. We had 79% possession, so basically 80% possession, and 0 attempts to their 6. So they had like 20% possession and 6 attempts to our 0 in the 36th minute. And of course, they were a goal up at that point. Sickening stuff. It was peculiar, ladies and gentlemen, but we are going to break it down. I'll give you some reference points, and we're going to try and work out what the ruddy heck is a Chelsea Football Club at the moment. It's a big win. Look, Palace are on the ropes, wibbly wobbly boy, is not having a good time, but, you know, Elise, Eze, Gerhi, all out. Do you know what I mean? It's not good for them, but at the same time, like, they're at home. Eventually, the law of averages, they have to beat Chelsea at one point. Eventually. And even a draw, bro. 12 wins in a row before this. A draw would represent massive progress for Palace. And to lose again, and for us to continue that winning streak, it's just nothing short of lovely fun. Right, boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, how did we line up? Both did 4-2-3-1s, actually. Yes, so of course we saw a couple of youngsters, Wharton, and who was the other guy? Like Franca, whatever his name was. Franca? Yeah, Franca, whatever. A couple of debutants. They got, young players, but they still had, like, seasoned veterans in there. Lerma scoring, of course, a super goal. Mateta, because proven he can do bits in terms of scoring headers and stuff. Though they haven't scored off a set piece this season. Oh, for corner, excuse me. But Ayew, Hughes. They're at home. They're meant to be a canny outfit. They've still got Anderson at the back, who's supposed to be good. By the way, I think he did concede a penalty against Nkunku. Can you let me know in the comments? Because when he sort of like, do you remember Harry Maguire on Cesar Azpilicueta? It wasn't quite that bad, but it was nearly that bad. He had his arm around his neck and jumped over him and like crushed him. Like, I know maybe if you're a Palace fan you'd say never a pen, but for me, I think it was a penalty. So Petrovic is in goal for Chelsea. Conventional fullback starting, Disasi and Thiago Silva. Of course, it's been a huge talking point of late. Does Thiago Silva slow down despite being a really good footballer and amazing, and no other footballer will be as good as him when they're 40? Does he limit Chelsea? We can talk about that a bit more. Double pivot, Fernandez and Caicedo. We saw Gallagher and Gallagher completing that sort of midfield three. And of course, we saw the front three that I thought we'd see. Noni on the right, annoyingly Palmer down the middle, and Nico Jackson playing his native left wing role. So how did it all go down, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we're about to find out. But a quick reminder to you, man and woman out there, multiple uploads a day, sometimes, certainly upload every day here on Football Therapy. Do help me get over that 180,000 subscriber mark simply by subscribing and hitting that bell. Alright, so yeah, make no bones about it, that first half was sickening. ponderous, boring, like, yeah, I wanted to rip out my eyes, bro. You know, I have no issue with Sarri. I think he's quite interesting, philosophical, dogmatic coach, but when it didn't work at Chelsea, that's what this was in the first half. We had so many passes. We broke a record of the most amount of passes without having a shot or something, or a goal, something, and yet another unwanted record we set in that first half for the last 20 years or something. And yes, and it was just so super ponderous. And granted, the goal they scored by Jefferson Lerma was a bit of a wonder goal. We didn't look like doing anything whatsoever. Petr Cech, incidentally, thought that Petrovic, who he liked, but said he's stylistically different to him, and he plays like Spanish goalkeepers, I believe. Very interesting in the Sky Sports studio from Chelsea legend Petr Cech. He thinks he could have saved it. Now, I, at first glance, thought, yeah, great worldy goal, whatever. But when you hear Big Pete say, yeah, it's to do with his starting position, if he's a bit more forwards, he can save it. You're like, all right, I believe you. I mean, you are like arguably the GOAT Prem goalkeeper of all time. So, and this is like a young guy who's just come from MLS, but maybe he can save it. I don't know. Again, comment down below and let me know whether you think this guy should have saved that. So the second half is like, right, go time, make or break time. What are you about? You know, you had a good performance away a few days ago at Villa. You're away now. You're up against it. You're doing like vintage of the last 5-6 years Chelsea, despite a Champions League win in between, of like loads of possession, no ideas. Like, yeah, like I say, we had it with Sarri. We had it with Lampard. We've certainly had it with Tuchel at times and Potter. That it's just a thing that creeps back into our game. It doesn't matter who's on the player roster. It's just something we do. So this is kind of like a test. Like, right, what are you going to do? Are you going to crumble? Is there going to be headlines tomorrow about Pochettino again? Or can you follow up that good result against Villa away, which granted had the shine taken off it a little bit since Man United beat them there. Can you build up on that? And Malo Gusto, who probably was our best player in the first half, and by the way, he was way better in the second half, so that's not a massive praise to Gusto, because everyone was pony in that first half. And it's probably worth saying now before I like get into player performances and who I think played well, but Caicedo was awful, but Enzo Fernandez in that first half was stinking out the gaff, brother. Like he was you could tell he was super frustrated with himself. Like he felt like the onus was on him to do something a bit more creative with the passes, because we were doing the recycling passes. So I get it, like he's like, I gotta do something here, but when he kept trying to do something, he didn't do it. Basically, he wasn't executing it, and he was possibly the worst half I've seen him play. I think personally, of course, it's a game of opinions, but everyone else was poor as well, and everyone else got better in the second half. And we know that, of course, Enzo even got a goal. So, yeah, beginning of the second half, Gusto, who, like I said, was probably marginally our best player in the first half, puts in a great ball. Conor Gallagher, for the first Premier League goal of the season, guys, comes in and lashes it with a lethal finish, fueled with venom and pain, you know? And I tell you what, I remember last season when he scored, and I think this game he didn't celebrate. He did the I had a great season with you here, guys, before. I'm not going to celebrate. Now he's like, bun that, and lost his mind. Absolutely incredible scenes. So, the beginning of the second half, that was the 47th minute. We were 1-1, and Chelsea looked great, bro. We looked great. But then we sort of like fizzle out. You know, and then like Palace had a couple of chances, and you think, oh god, here we go. And then you start thinking, oh, how does 1-1 look for Chelsea? Obviously terrible. Like, look where we are on the table. Like, things are bad. I'm trying to like think about where we are and what's going on. Thiago Silva makes it a good block. I think he injures his groin, and Levi Colwill comes off. We can talk about Silva a little bit more in a second. Yeah, a few more changes. There's like a couple of changes for Palace. We bring on Raheem Sterling for Jackson, so left wing for left wing. Malo Gusto seemed to be suffering for a while, because Pochettino was communicating him doing the rotational finger action. So he was like substituted, and Alfie Gilchrist came on for him as a conventional right back. So at that point, it's we're in the 84th minute, and at that point I've lost hope. I'm like, all right, well, we started the second half, we came out swinging, but Palace have settled. They've had a couple of chances themselves, and I don't think we're going to do it. And in stoppage time, bro, so the 91st minute, Cole Palmer assisting Conor Gallagher. And Cole Palmer, by the way, we'll talk about this again in player performances, but play him on the right. I know Poch wants to get Noni Madueke in, and actually, handbrake, vinyl needle comes off record. We'll talk about it in a second more, but yes, for their goal, Noni gives the ball away. The player that he's sort of trying to accommodate. I'm a Noni believer. I am. But not when I just, at the moment, in must-win games, I know he's a young player and you got to play him, Noni, but you got to play Palmer on the right wing. I'm sorry, man. You just got to. You got to play Palmer on the right wing. I'm done seeing this false nine nonsense, bro. I'm just done. Anyway, Cole Palmer again with a great finish, ghosting into the box. And again, lashing it. I'm going to use that word. He lashed it. He lashed it in. And do you want to know what the best thing about this goal is, boys, girls? I'll tell you. It's not the wonderful Conor Gallagher finish to put Chelsea ahead in stoppage time. It's not the amazing Cole Palmer goal moving to his better position. It's the Axel Disasi yellow card, because he was gone, bro. My guy was so deep in the Chelsea fans, just loving it. And I love to see that. That's what we want. We want a little bit of heart, bit of passion. The Chelsea away fans have been magnificent all season, especially considering like how tricky a lot of the stuff they've had to endure is. I've got nothing but the biggest respect for the Chelsea away support. Incredible. So to have Disasi, slam dunked right in the middle of them and getting booked for it, I just love to see it. It's great stuff. It's fun. But 2 minutes later, boys and girls, literally 2 minutes later, you think, okay, can we hold on now? We've got the points away. We're in stoppage time. There's 4 minutes. Can we hold on? We break. Cole Palmer again does magnificent work. And Nkunku's desperate for it, who's, of course, come on. At this point, he came on at halftime. Sorry, I missed that, for Noni, who obviously was at fault for the goal. And Nkunku's desperate for a goal, you can tell, and he is like such a great technician in Nkunku. He's desperate for it, but actually what he's doing great work, just occupying the defenders. Cole Palmer does the right thing in that position, plays in Enzo Fernandez. Enzo, I think waits an eternity to shoot. He's always looking, when you see the replay, he's looking at his foot, he's looking at the guys, looking at there, he's looking at everywhere, and you're thinking, just hit it. But he places it wonderfully in the top of the near post, and it's a great finish. And then yet another goal for Enzo Fernandez this season. He's definitely going to reach double figures, I think, which is not bad for a number 8, a double pivot player, and great for a double pivot player. And yeah, we win the game 3-1. Right, player performances. Let's get into it. Petrovic. I'll take Big Pete's word. He could have done better, but generally, I'm very happy with Petrovic. We've got much bigger problems for me to be putting a microscope over Petrovic, and to be honest, that's like the biggest compliment you could pay him. So yes, we move. Chilwell, not great, but okay, passable. He'd met a couple of misplaced passes, and he's the captain on the night, and it was actually the third choice captain that inspired the comeback and win rather than Chilwell. But I'm a big Chilwell believer and fan, so fine. He didn't do anything really bad. Colwell didn't really get much of a chance to do anything of note. Disasi I thought was good. I think he's probably our best defender on the day, and I'm just going to give him extra points for that celebration. Gusto, the best in the back line of the day. It had to be Malo Gusto, of course. Got the assist for the equaliser. Came off. But we went on to win, even in his absence, and Gilchrist comes on. Thiago Silva, he made an excellent block. Look, the thing is, it's like the Thiago Silva paradox, isn't it? Because he's such a professional. He loves Chelsea. He's literally a footballing legend and still does excellent individual moments of football. But despite that, because of his lack of mobility, you do have to play a certain way to accommodate him. And that will remain the same. Whether he's having good moments like this or whether he's doing a mistake, because he still has, he went through a phase recently of loads of individual errors, which is fine. He's a footballer. It can happen, especially when you're good all the time. You can have these little moments, So, and yeah, I'm not going to say okay, he comes off and then, to be honest, he comes off and we don't score for another 30 minutes. So it's not like, oh, we suddenly started cooking much better. In fact, it was just towards the end, Palmer was just like, bun this, and he was playing on the right. And to be honest, let's talk about it now. Palmer on the right wing. He assisted the winner and the goal to make sure from the right wing. Just play him there. I don't want to say much more on that because that's it. Just play him there on the right wing and we cook. We good. We eat in. Midfielders, I think they were all absolute butthole in the first half, but much better in the second. Of course, Caicedo did a lot better in the second. Fernandez did. The pivot was awful they were awful in the first half. That pivot. And they were much better in the second half. Maybe because there was just a bit of momentum. Gallagher, excellent on the day in the end. Winning, just the fact how this kid just keeps going. Do you know what I mean? Like, the system didn't win us. I'm not a Poch out guy because I just don't see any value in it. But Poch's tactics and the system I don't think won it for us today. I think Conor Gallagher's heart. And that isn't a long-term plan. Having a Conor Gallagher that's just going to have these individual moments. It's we need the team to start showing real systemic chemistry. We've shown it at times. I think we did a lot more at Villa than we did today, despite the scoreline being the same. But it was like Conor's heart, essentially, without trying to sound too wanky. Got 2 great finishes and is the first 2 goals of his Premier League campaign. He's got 3 goals in the space of a week in all comps. Excellent. Superb. Okay, so let's talk about the front 3. We've spoken about Palmer, good on the right, bad down the middle. Jackson, quiet. I don't think he had a great game. I think he's kind of like... He's not going to inspire. He's not going to do what Conor Gallagher did, Jackson, and inspire you to win. But if you're playing well, I think he can cook with you, Jackson. So the team needs to get better, and I think he can elevate with the team, personally. Madueke, I think he's very frustrating. I think he's a real talent, a real good wild card, but you can't be faffing about with a ball that close to your own goal, which he was. He let the ball go, and seconds later they score, and he looked really disappointed with himself. But he's a kid, bro. He's 21 years old. He's done some good stuff recently. It is super tough that he's got Palmer there. If he had a senior guy in front of him, like a 30-year-old Willian or something, it would be different. But the fact how he's got a guy his same age that's just better than him there, it's tough, dude. It's real tough. But he's a good player to have, and God forbid if Palmer did get injured, Noni's got that locked down. He's literally Noni starting. But yeah, very disappointing in this game, and it got to him, I think, a little bit, and he was rightly subbed. But yeah, we're not gonna judge Noni long term. I imagine that there's a lot of believers here in the comments. And then what do we got from the subs? We got Sterling, pretty poor. If Sterling's clearly out of form, just generally. Gilchrist, you don't bring on Gilchrist to be a dynamic attacking right back. You bring him on to keep the ball out, and he's very good in the 18-yard box. Alfie Gilchrist, he's very passionate. He loves it, but he'll just stay the right side of players and not let them pass. Very, very good indeed. And yeah, Bradere, who else came on? Colwell came on for Silva. Fine, didn't get an opportunity to do too much. I think he won a couple of fouls, and then Kunku looks positive. I know he didn't score or assist in Kunku, and he was brought on for the entire half. But his vital runs that for that final goal as well, the Enzo goal, they just have to stay with Nkunku, and he's running in the right space. He would have been gutted that the ball didn't come to him, but we scored the goal, and he's part of that, and he's just a great player. So let me know what you think. Comment down below. I am feeling good, but wow, what an emotional roller coaster from this team. Thank you for helping me hopefully get to 180k subs soon. Hit the bell if you are subscribed, if you want updates from me and here in the channel. And we'll be back in the studio tomorrow for a Chelsea news video, I'm sure. But in between we'll get the odd video here as well. All right, peace.